We need a bigger table, man. Okay.
This is fine, man. We're good.
Fuck, I've never
Humble
done
beginnings.
Never done one of these
Fucking
sober.
feel like I'm hungover. Drinking coffee instead of beer. How the fuck old are we getting? Fuck.
Hey, welcome back to Two Beers and a Mic, man. I am Alan, and this is Fidel. He's making climate change great again, man. Show him the hat, bro. Like, kneel down.
Bro, this is like literally gotten me so much attention. Shout out to my boy Chris Cezanne for the hat, by the way. Free hat. And literally everyone's like, does like a double take.
Yeah.
Like, because as soon as they see make blank great again, people like look at you
Flip
twat.
out, man. I saw it. I'm like, oh, this guy like completely like changed teams like at the worst time.
This is not the time to tell people about who I voted for. Just kidding.
Exactly. But you know what? With the current situation that's going on, I haven't read it. I haven't seen it. I literally figured it out like this morning. But
literally, it's divide and conquer, and we're too dumb to see it.
yeah,
I said it.
Shout out to Gerard Butler. Obviously, he's not gonna watch this shit. But your movie is like fucking real life, man. What is it? Angel Has Fallen? Olympus Has Fallen?
Olympus, Angel, Gerard Butler, you're awesome. I love all your movies, and I hope someday you get to watch this.
Yeah, I've only seen one of your movies. It's not that good, so I don't care if you watch it or not. What are you up to, man? What you got going on, brother?
Dude, Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year, Happy New Year, man. Happy New Year.
It was
Happy New Year.
amazing. I don't care what y'all say. I see the positive in things. Call me naive, but 2020 was amazing, and I mostly say that because of my Robin Hood.
Oh, that cannabis, brother. That cannabis. Yeah, 2020 was alright, man. It feels weird to say it to a lot of people because obviously, you know, there's deaths involved. A lot of lifestyle changes, you know, shifted. But, like, mine was alright, dude. Like, working from home was a dream. It came true. You know, the whole daycare situation was great. Things, man, 2020 was alright, bro.
Aside from the people dying, which, let's be honest, that sucks. Americans dying, people in general dying sucks. But if we try to look at all the things we've learned, I learned that health and family are of the utmost importance. Everything else is extra. And whether you're a spiritual person, religious person, whatever you have, I think 2020 kind of put that in our face, like what really matters.
You know what I learned? As an American, man, I learned that we do not give a fuck about anything at all, man. Like, being from, like, a different country and you compare, I don't know what the hell happened. Obviously, there's a lot of shadiness with the government, but the fact that we're so divided that people don't listen to the fact that people are dying, that you should stay inside, it's insane. Like, back where I'm from, the day they announced COVID, the next day the whole country shut down. I mean, borders shut down, cities shut down. Like, you couldn't even, like, if you had a flight to catch and you had to cross the city, you're gonna miss your fucking flight because they're not letting your ass through. Like, that's serious. Like, they had 9 cases, 0 deaths to this day.
Yeah, and where you at? What country?
I'm talking about Fiji.
And what's the population there?
Population, I think, is about 5-6 million.
Okay, that's
Yeah, I mean, that's
the
a
city.
country.
That's the city of Los Angeles.
Okay, but look at the city with the same population.
Granted, we're talking about two different. I understand what you're saying.
Pick any rural, whatever the fuck, however you rural city you talk with the same population, and just like compare.
Hey, I'll give you that. I'm not gonna sit here and debate like who did it better, but the one thing I do understand
Well,
is
America did not do good or great or better.
we weren't making America great again. I'll tell you
We
that.
were not. We were definitely.
We were doing the opposite of making America great.
We were more focused on climate this year.
We're most focused on stocks than people's damn lives.
Go by his hat. We were so focused on climate, we forgot fucking winter, man. We forgot all about winter. It just happened, dude.
Rest in peace, Kobe. Again, I hate to bring it up, but
Kobe.
we almost lost Dr. Dre this year.
Well, I mean, we could still lose him. It's only January.
Dude, it's insane. Like, I don't know if you heard about it.
Aneurysm?
Yeah, brain aneurysm. And let me tell you this. I grew up with NWA and G-Funk rap. If we lose Dr. Dre this year, you might see me cry on the show.
You know, I'm a huge fan of Eminem, and that's all I know. So if we lose Dr. Dre, he has done his part for me. He's good, man. Take it easy, man. Say what's up to Kobe. Jump to Eminem.
The fact that you just did the sign of the cross and you're not Christian. It's amazing. By the way, Dr. Dre, did you ever own a pair of Beats?
I did own a pair of Beats. They didn't last very long. So another fuck you to Dr. Dre.
Not where I was going with that.
It was not. It wasn't the wireless one. It was the auxiliary one.
Yeah.
But I do have the wireless Beats now. So those work. I think I had like the first edition. But
Nice.
Thank you to those Chinese kids, by the way.
Yeah, it's weird because I used to get bullied for the first time I bought a pair.
Oh, what a fucking segue, brother.
The reason I say I got bullied is because my family knew they were expensive because I made a big deal out of them, and I went and bought out the executive ones. They're like these gorgeous silver over-the-ear Beats, and I was like, no, I don't care what the fuck y'all say. I've been bullied a decent part of my life. I'll deal with y'all. I went and bought the pair and returned them 3 days later.
Oh man. So where did the bullying come in, Fidel?
I don't know, man. I've been dealing with bullying for quite a while. Usually early in my childhood days. After a while, I kind of learned. I think once I hit high school, kind of learned how to deal with it. And then high school, college, whatever. Workforce, though, that's a different. That's a different animal. How did you deal with it?
That's harassment, though, right?
Yeah. So it's funny because bullying goes. As children, we call it bullying. As adults, it turns into harassment.
Yeah. I mean, mine. You know, like obviously, I grew up in a different country. I don't think I was bullied there. I mean, I had a big ass head, but you know. Little shit. I gotta like edit my head and make it smaller.
George Lopez called. He wants his long lost son.
Lopez called. He wants his shit back, man. But I mean, like, so like when I came here in 2001 in August. So like around September time, that was like my first day in school. So every morning the teachers would do like their little exercises and shit with the whole school. I'd be like, whatever the exercises were. And one morning, none of that's happening. Everyone's crying and shit. I'm like, oh, thank God, because I hated being sweaty all day. And then, like, we go and like, oh, the terrorist attacks, which I couldn't figure out how to figure out it was Osama bin Laden 6 hours after the fucking plane crash, right?
What grade were you in 2001?
I was in fourth grade.
Okay.
So, I mean, you come home, you watch like the flights, you know, like crashing into the towers, and then the next couple days, the kids are calling me a fucking terrorist, man. I was like, man, how do you got, like, what is that? Like, I didn't know what the hell a terrorist was until like forever. But
funny you say that.
Yeah.
Sorry to interject on your story, but that point shows me this guy's from Fiji.
yeah.
Just because he looks like a certain race, I'm not going to name it because I hate ignorance. But that's how ignorant are to this day. To this day, yeah. To this day, this country is.
But it's like, it's also the lack of education, right? Because it's like, I was in the fourth grade, and like, it was a pretty ghetto area, and like, it's all mixes of, you know, races and cultures, and all of a sudden now I'm standing out, and it's like, okay, well, like, what makes these fourth graders so like, you know, like, how did they know? It's obviously the education they have at home, because I'm sure they went home and they taught like, oh yeah, there's this little terrorist kid at home and at school, and unless someone corrected them at home, didn't.
Answer me this: Have you ever been taught, or were you ever born, or do you remember just hating somebody for no reason?
No,
racism is taught.
Racism is taught. I mean, 100%. For sure. I mean, like, I was taught to watch out for certain people, but not based on their skin color, based on like their characteristics, you know, like just shit like that. You know, like if you're at a gas station and you see a couple loud people, doesn't matter of their race, maybe just mind your own business, you know, you don't know what the hell they're on. Just stuff like that. But it was crazy, man. Like, I was very, very shy. I was very timid, man.
So that was fourth grade.
That was 4 to about, you know, what's also funny is when I first got here, we had to wear a uniform. So it was like navy blue pants and like white polo shirt. We had uniforms back home, but like dress for girls and like dress shirts for boys. But like the girls' collar would have like curls. So I guess my parents didn't know that. So I wore like the girls' fucking uniform. So maybe
at that point you were asking for
yeah,
it,
maybe I was
you gave him a reason.
I didn't know. But like, I was very freaking timid, man. I don't think I had a voice until like maybe high school, maybe, because like I wasn't very good in
What do you elaborate on that? What do you mean you didn't have a voice?
like I wasn't very loud. I didn't exactly talk unless I was talked to. Like I hated school because I honestly didn't think I had like any friends. I had friends, but like I just didn't. You know what I mean? It was like it just there was no confidence because like when you go to school and like instead of people calling you by their name, they call you by their culture. Like, oh, there goes that Hindu, or oh, here that goes that terrorist. You know, your identity is kind of gone. So I struggle with that a lot, and like.
Yeah.
Now looking back, I feel like I have this personality because there's literally nothing you could say or do that will break me. Because like I've kind of been through all of it.
We all have our red buttons.
Yeah.
And I agree with that very much so. My whole life I had to deal with being made fun of for being so light skinned. So the opposite. You see, like that. And I've had to in the beginning.
But in your own community, right?
Yes, mostly in my community, but growing up in usually again elementary, middle school, a little bit of high school, everyone assumed I was either Russian, Spaniard, and very, very few often Middle Eastern.
Really?
Which I thought was weird.
I could see that like Arabian or something.
Yeah, like because I guess they have light skins over there too.
Yeah.
I've seen Lebanese chicks, so I believe it. Sorry, babe, this is the truth. But growing up so light skinned, here it's funny because I tell this to my brothers and my sisters all the time because they got made fun of for the same thing. Back in the day, if you were dark skinned, you got made fun of because that meant you were a worker, you were lower class. If you were light skinned, that means you weren't in the sun, you were higher class and people shit did for you. And now things have turned. It's crazy how things turn around. And I used to tell myself that, not that I was better than anyone, but it's like that's what like I dealt with bullying. It's like, hey, these motherfuckers are just lower class, so they don't know shit, blah, blah, blah. Whatever made me feel better. But at the end, I had to learn that it's just ignorance. People are taught racism. People are taught all these negative things.
A lot of times they're not taught, they're just not corrected.
That too?
Yeah. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I used to get mistaken for Filipino and Mexican a lot. I remember one time we were...
I can see Mexican for sure.
we were at Disneyland.
Mi tío Alan, hey! Trae las coronas, güey!
¿Qué pasa? Whatever. So like I was in, we were in LA, Disneyland, right? So one morning I go up to the vending machine to get like fucking cookies or some shit, and this Mexican dude walks up like, hey, what part of Mexico you from? I was like, downtown. I don't know.
Let's see, where the dark skins of Mexico come from? Hey, if you guys are watching all my Mexican peeps, where do the dark skinned Mexicans come from? Because in Jalisco, we're light skinned. I want to say, I don't know, fucking Zacatecas? I don't know. Anyways,
but
something else.
I mean, like, the elementary school bullying and all that stuff. I mean, like, I got to be like the class clown type of person, I think, later on in high school. Later, but it just depended, like, obviously, who's in class. Like,
well, we met in middle school, if you remember.
We met in middle school, yeah, I remember. But like I was very quiet because I wasn't good at school. I obviously looked funny. I didn't have like the best clothes and like that terrorist, all that crap. I was still going through that. And then like I don't know, man. I just hated school, man. Like I'd literally be the last one there and the first one to leave.
So because of the bullying,
the bullying just kind of killed all my confidence.
Okay.
And then on top of everything else, like okay, how can I fit in? And then okay, skin color I can't fit in. Cool clothes I can't fit in. I'm not as smart. I also wore fucking glasses. Like there's a lot of shit, man. And then, I mean, like, I think once I got to high school, it got better. But I think junior year, I went to boot camp, and that woke me up. The level of the racism I dealt with over there was insane. Because I was in Missouri, and no one had ever seen anything.
No like shit.
No one had ever seen me. Like, no one of this skin
that
complexion.
I did not know.
Yeah, no one had ever seen like next level. But like, I don't think I got it from the sergeants because they were, like. They're in character of a drill sergeant to treat everyone like shit. So I didn't think there was any unfairness. But
so they own army.
Yeah, so it was like, and it was the summertime, so it was all like high school kids going, you know what I mean? So it was just a lot of like, oh, there's that Dune Coon or sand. It shouldn't have to be there because like, I think after a while everyone realized like, fuck, we're all eating shit together. Why make things harder for the other person by being an extra problem, you know, with this racism shit.
Yeah.
So I think just the fact that we were under so much stress and just, you know, dealing with the bullshit together, that's when we all got together. And then that's when I started firing back. Like, I had gone through mine, you know, I heard, listened, took it in, and then I started responding. So, like, on any given day, we got up at 4 a.m., went to bed at midnight. There was nothing no one could say that I have a response for. Because it's like, what are you gonna do? Like, what the fuck are you gonna do?
At the end of the day, see, and that's when I think there comes a point in time. Hopefully, most people realize this, that you can transition from being a victim and standing up for yourself.
It's not. I mean, I don't think you should resort to violence. I don't think you should hurt yourself. I never had those feelings. I mean, in my head, I would think like, fuck, I wish I could go to school and just pop these motherfuckers.
Oh, obviously.
You know, like, I would have those feelings.
But we don't take it to the extreme and start shooting schools.
We don't, you know? I'd be like, fuck, if, you know, my parents worked at fucking Jack in the Box, there's no bail money for me.
So you were smart enough or clever enough to think things through, but ultimately, that's what I wanted to get to. It's like I said earlier, bullying becomes harassment. Now in the workforce, that's what I wanted to talk to, because that's more recent. In my, you know, my childhood or my adolescent years, I really don't care, simply because it wasn't as impactful. Yeah, there was a kid here and there that would make my life miserable in the basketball court, or making fun of me for trying to get the best grades. Like, it is what it is. Kids are kids. But now as adults, how do you deal with that? Because now there's harassment at work. Now there's politics at work. Yeah. So how do you deal with that? This guy has the luxury of now working from home. So good luck trying to bully him. He could just end the bullying with the push of a button.
I mean, bullying could happen. You know, you ask someone to do something and they don't do it. But a lot of that, you know.
Here's what I mean by that. So I worked at a car dealership. Many people know this, and there is favoritism. Yeah. I don't care. I don't care. And a lot of people that work in the car business that I know of know exactly what I'm talking about. So you're either gonna kiss ass or you won't. And I'm not that type of person. Like I am not gonna kiss ass. I have to. My work ethic and my ambition should be enough. And if that's not enough, then I'm at the wrong place. Plain and simple. To make a long story short, I wasn't really like harassed per se, so I'm not going to sit here and play victim, this and that. I've seen and witnessed other people get harassed, but if they're not going to speak up for themselves, I'm not their superhero unless they're being, you know, physically assaulted or whatever.
I think as adults, you should have a little bit of backbone, because like, I'm sure, you know, it's always like whatever you've been through, someone's been through worse. That's one thing. But it's like, you got to be able to get yourself out of a situation, because you're not going to have someone there all the time.
Unfortunately, this world is not fair, and not everyone's going to hold your hand.
So do you think, I don't think workplace harassment and the political game are the same thing. I think they're very two.
What do you mean political game?
I mean, like
political gain and harassment.
Political games, right? Like someone pulling the political card. I don't see that. Maybe there's a little bit of racism sometimes. There's a little bit of bias, but I don't see that as like making your day-to-day hard. You know?
I think the political game can include some bullying or harassment, and I agree to an extent that they're not one and the same, but they do coexist with each other, because I'll give you an example, and I won't name names. A certain manager, let's say, already didn't like a certain person, and no matter how good they did, it just wasn't good enough because they just didn't like that person. Or the other way around. A certain individual sucked at performing, got everything done for them, but because they were cool with a certain someone, then they were good to go.
Well, I mean, that's part of the game sometimes, man.
And that's okay. I've read that in the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. It teaches you that. It's like, whether you like or dislike politics, it will be a part of your life. So you either learn to play the game or you get played.
Because even on the teams I've been on, I normally attract to the people who I get along with. Like, you could bust your ass, but if you're like a D-bag, you know, it's like I'm not gonna click. I mean, I do know, and I feel like I've had opportunities taken away from me because, you know, like the politics and all that stuff. But a lot of it sometimes has to do with just right place, right time with the right people, you know? Harassment-wise, I mean, like, I've had people talk to me, in loud voices, there's like maybe intimidation and all that stuff, but it's like I'm like 29 years old. There's nothing you can do now that I haven't seen before when I had no power, no voice, no nothing. Now I'll cuss a motherfucker out, Like, if you want to fight, you'll probably win, but as long as my mouth is moving, that's how
And it's funny you say that because I feel that 90% of people nowadays have that same power because of social media.
Yeah.
And it's okay to feel powerful with your words or whatever. But people forget back in the day, social media didn't exist. So you had to be careful the way you address people. Nowadays, I literally saw it this week. I think it was just yesterday morning. My buddy, he's a really close real estate agent of mine, real estate friend agent of mine, and he posted something about what's going on in the Capitol in DC, blah blah blah. And some dude just literally that I guess somebody he knew, quote unquote friend, and just blatantly insults him. And he's like, and he literally told him, and he literally told him something that I believe to this day. It's like, you're so lucky you're behind a computer screen, because if you were to say this in my face, my buddy's actually pretty built. If you were to say this in my face, you would get rocked. And people forget that. People don't have the balls to say things to your face now.
That's the keyboard warrior, right?
Yeah. No. Keyboard warrior is a little different. That's just people who feel safe behind a screen, but face to face.
Yeah, but I mean that's my thing, right? Like, I am at a point where if I have something to say to someone, I will probably say it in person, because I feel like I'm able to get out the right tone and the right energy. Words, I mean, if you're just typing up, you're arguing. You're not doing anything. It's just who can write the longest paragraph at the end of the day,
You're not getting anywhere.
But I mean, like, do you feel like whatever type of bullying you experience, has that shaped you in any way?
Oh, 100%. 1,000%. The fact that I've dealt with a lot of shit and just kept things inside has helped me. One of my close high school friends, Marcos Lopez.
I know.
He told me once, he's like, hey, you have a problem with authority, don't you? And that set me back, because I was like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, dude, you always have to talk back to anyone. And I'm like,
I hate that shit.
And I was just like,
I hate that. And
I had to sit back and reflect. And I was like, do I have a problem with authority? And it's not that I have a problem with authority. I have a problem with injustice. And to me, it doesn't matter. I was literally talking to my mother about this yesterday. We were having a conversation. I was like, I don't care if you're the Pope or a janitor or the President of the United States.
The Pope, Fidel.
The Pope can get these hands. They're rated Pope. E. They are rated E for everyone. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Oh.
Just kidding.
God, the Pope travels in a glass house, brother.
I get shot down before I even get close to the Pope.
Oh, God.
But what my point with that is that I have a problem with injustice. And I will always speak up my mind, because I've dealt with that as a child. And I feel that if there is something wrong, I'm trying to be as fair as possible. And God gave us a voice to speak up. Obviously, there's a time and place to speak up, is what I'm learning now. But if there's an issue, communicate it. Speak up. Don't stay quiet and wait for it to be resolved magically, because that's not how the world works.
Yeah, I used to have that where I'd, speak up for my buddies and all that stuff. But then it's like the person sometimes they're speaking up for doesn't have your back. So then,
So it's mundane.
So it's just something, but I am personally, whatever I went through, because it's already done, I feel like I am very grateful for like the way things turned out, because my personality, I think, gets me through a lot of situations, and I feel like it's gotten me through a lot of doors.
I think your sense of humor has helped you.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just like, there's nothing you can say that's not gonna rock me. It's not gonna give me the jitters. Like, I could get cussed out today by my boss. Next second if they want something, I'll be the first one up, because it's just
business. You don't take shit personal.
It's you don't. And it's like, I've also learned, if you do catch some shit from people, just like, okay, just think, is this out of character of this person? Yes. Okay, well, like, maybe they're going through some shit. If it's not, then it's just another day. Like, let's just get through it.
But most people can't do that because they're too emotional. Well, I myself.
Maybe everyone should get their ass kicked a little bit growing up. I don't know. But I mean, like, if you're in a situation now, like if you're being harassed at work, I do feel like you should confront some like confront. And
I wouldn't
just,
say
like,
confront. I would say communicate. Because
Communi-
confront
yeah.
has a negative connotation.
I mean, I don't mean like puff your chest out and be like, "What's your problem?"
Because you'll probably get rocked. Most people can't fight.
Have the conversation. Because like the longer you let it go, the longer you let your imagination run wild. And sometimes the other person may think you're just weak and he's just gonna keep coming back. I used to have that, man, and like they were like, "You got something to say? Like, talk to me. Like, what is your freaking problem?" I used to have a lot, like in the military, like I had that a lot, but because it's like you see like this scrawny brown loudmouth kid, and people have this perception, but it's like, you know, you're talking behind my back and all that stuff, but like I had a reputation, right? So people knew who I was, my work, and all that stuff. So if you said something negative, word got back to me, and then I would be like, "Hey, man, like, you know, we got to work at this together. I'm not better than you. You may be better than me, but like we got to click to make this work. You know, like let's hash it out. What's the problem?" That was the thing, and that's what I carry to this day at work. So like, if someone has an issue or something, it's not a confrontation. I don't even go up. Just be like, "Hey, what's your problem?" It's just a calm conversation. Like, "Hey, man, how's your day going?"
Most people can't do that.
Stuff like that. Just put it off, man. Like, unless the world is ending tomorrow, then yeah, sucker punch somebody and run. But you know, if not.